Okay, so this is the fifth and hopefully last of the presentations for the resumes, CVs, and cover letters part of this week's PowerPoints. This is like the sixth time I've tried to do this and it keeps glitching, so let's hope it actually works this time. This part isn't required, this is just fun, but it is a good way to illustrate some of the mistakes that we see in resumes in a kind of funny way. So this is from a book. You can tell at the bottom with the page number. So I don't know how much of it is real and how much of it is edited to make a point. But the objective here, again, we don't do objectives anymore, but they probably did then. Ideal position would be a businessman with $18,000 to $250,000 in salary with benefits the following additional compensation: corner office, receptionist, stocks and bonds, and commemorative coins. Now, everything here, the focus is on what the company can do for this person. The ideal position is businessman. It's not saying the actual title of the position. The salary amount variance is nearly useless because it doesn't tell the person what the applicant is worth or the applicant thinks they're worth. And it's also not something you really should put in a resume. That's something to address in the interview. The additional compensation is very specific and a little bit strange, commemorative coins, but it's all based on prestige and ego. And so if I was looking at that, I'd be thinking, ooh, I don't want this person. They think they're a lot better than they are. So their experience is, their first one is they were vice president of impressive business dealings at Business Incorporated. And I think that's probably edited. But they were in charge of outsourcing and in-buying. Well, that could be useful, but how much outsourcing did they do to what benefit for the company? That's not answered. The person oversaw important industry. Well, that involves a lot of different skills. Can we be a little bit more specific about, what industry, what was involved in it, things like that, how many industries, skills, how that benefited the company, just anything that gives us a little bit more information. In burning the midnight oil, you'd think that a company would want to see that level of dedication, but what I would be thinking is, ooh, this is someone's going to burn out fast. They're not going to be a human being outside of work. They are not going to have any real expertise or benefits to me as a company, and they're just going to work all the time, and I'm not sure that I want that person there. So then there were also the reporter at the newspaper. So another thing I would notice here is that's a huge difference in careers. And I would wonder why there was the career switch and the gap between 1995 and 1996. So the person also, they wrote lots of articles. Well, what did they write on? What's their area of expertise? How many articles did they write? What were they on? Why were they important? How did it affect the company or the newspaper's bottom line? They also took excellent photographs. Well, how many photographs? Where were they published? What were they on? What kind of photographs were they? Were they investigative journalism? Were they, not investigative, but photojournalism? Were they on human interest stories? Were they, war photos? I mean, give me a little more information here. One Pulitzer Prize donated to charity. Well, the Pulitzer Prize is a very specific prize. So one Pulitzer for what? What year? What work? You could donate the funds to charity. You can't really donate the prize to charity. More importantly, Pulitzer is misspelled, which is why I'm laughing. And what charity? What charity did you donate to? Additional experience includes general life experience. That's extra words that actually tells the reader nothing at all. Fiber optics, well, do you make fiber optics? Do you use fiber optics? What is your skill here? PowerPoint, that's not bad. Acting Commissioner of Fantasy Football League. Acting Commissioner of Fantasy Football League isn't all terrible. It is very flippant, but it does give me a sort of insight to this person and the fact that they do act in a leadership role outside of work. Problem, though, is that commissioner is misspelled and fantasy football should be capitalized. Their education includes Yale, Harvard, Oxford, and DeVry. but we don't know what degree, what years. We don't know their GPA. We don't know anything about courses that they took. We just know these big names of universities. The person holds degrees in business running and profit making, which aren't real degrees. And I don't know how they correlate. Where does business running, did they get the business running and profit making degrees? They get them from Yale, Harvard, Oxford? What degree? What goes with what school? Why are there 4 schools here and 2 degrees? I don't know. Interests include work, putting in overtime, but that does not tell me that this is a healthy, well-adjusted, stable individual. Not drinking, smoking, or doing anything else that would increase the company's healthcare costs. So your entire life is based upon making the company better? That doesn't check, and you haven't illustrated any of your impact, so I really don't believe it. Person enjoys reading business magazines and upselling. Those could be good. Reading business magazines, you would want to say what magazines you read and why, but that could be good information. References unavailable because they were burned in a fire. I thought that has to be made up. But it's hilarious for so many reasons. Not the least of which is that by announcing that references are unavailable, that means that none of this can be confirmed. And it also means that there is no one on this planet that this individual can get a reference from, and that is not a very good thing. If I was this individual, I would have just cut that out, because you don't have to say reference is available upon request at the bottom. You can just omit that. I'm worried about the fact that it should be faxed to Kinko's, especially when there's an email address, loves2work@hotmail.com, which again does not tell me anything about the person. It would have been better if it was mmartone@hotmail.com. But why fax it to Kinko's? Why can't they send it to your email address? That's suspicious. So there's a lot of things here that, yes, it's a really funny resume, but there you can see a lot of the problems kind of illustrated here. This one will not take long to talk about. It looks like a 12-year-old made it. Look at the different fonts and the clip art, or the shapes, and then the clip art down here. The monkey on the phone and the text here, and the really weird fonts. This is why you don't want to play with your fonts and stuff too much, because you might end up with this. Because this person was probably super impressed with what they did, but none of this comes off as professional. Can I go back? Let me go back. Okay. Sorry, I clicked ahead of time. So this one, I apologize for the inappropriate word. This one is real. So you'd think that a person who is a cook could spell cook. And the sad thing is there's a lot here that's actually pretty good. So more than 14 years working for, should be an Italian restaurant. Restaurant should be lowercase. Responsible for all kitchen operations, including buffets, banquets, room service in the restaurant. So there's a lot here you could pull from to get a really good resume, especially after 14 years of working at the same place. Well, that shows a lot of consistency. It shows dedication to the company. Responsible for all kitchen operations, that shows that the person can handle a lot of responsibility. But we would be better off having more details. We do get some, but there's some problems with them. So they cook pasta, seafood sauces. They worked effectively under high pressure. Well, working effectively under high pressure would be better if you could demonstrate how you worked effectively under high pressure. Preparing meals as per the menu. That's not a bad thing, but how many different meals did you have to remember that were on the menu? What was involved in preparing them correctly? Equally important, why was that consistency important? How did it help the customers or the restaurant? Cooking dinners and luncheons for up to 150 plus people. Well, that's impressive. That is definitely a lot of cooking. So that's definitely a good point to keep. Can follow instructions correctly. I wouldn't waste space with that one, but it's not bad. Progressed in position with every year of experience. That could also be good, but how did you progress? Did you get promotions? Did you get evaluations? What specific progressions did you make? And When did you make them? Problem solving, well, that's not in the same tense and format as the rest of it. So can solve complex problems would be better, would be even better if they said solved difficult, solved difficult interpersonal conflicts. That was the word I was looking for, between fellow employees, or was able to solve customer, disputes on average 3 weekly for 5 years to ensure customer satisfaction. Bilingual, again, not bad. That's important. But some other things here, and was the reason I skipped over detail-oriented and reliable. The person says they're detail-oriented. Everything else about this says that they're not. They misspelled the name of their job. They spent 14 years working for an Italian restaurant. Italian's capitalized correctly. Restaurant should not be. There should be a comma after operations. Pastas should be lowercase. Seafood should be lowercase. Sauces should be lowercase, and we don't need the parentheses. Pizza should be lowercase, and we don't need the parentheses. Can follow instructions correctly is on there twice. That does not indicate detail-oriented. And there's a bunch of other typos. So, and then the next one, in their education, we don't know what their degree was or what years they did their education. So that important detail is missing as well. So one more, and this one you might not think is real, but I have seen very, very, very similar ones from students before. So, hi, I'm looking for a job, only for the summer though, because I gotta go back to school. Thanks. So this is not what you put on a resume. It would be more what you would put in a cover letter. It is not grammatically correct or using standard English. And off the top, the person only wants to work for the summer, so they're not going to be reliable after. I already want to throw this to the side. So what do I have to offer? I'm good with people. I wear your clothes. Well, I'm glad you're good with people, but could you, make that grammatically correct? I wear your clothes sounds really, really creepy without the next line. I'm a model, so I can sell the clothes. Oh, okay. Skills, good at organizing, good sense of humor, good with people, good with infants and children. Well, good with people is already up here. Good with organizing might be useful depending on the nature of the job. Good with infants and children might be useful depending on the nature of the job, but it seems like they're going to a retailer. So what does that have to do with being good with infants and children or having a good sense of humor? Hobbies include hunting, laser tag, animal training, eyebrow treasing, tattoo assistant, and donating hair to charity. I'm not sure how donating hair to charity is a hobby. I kind of want to meet this girl now, though. I wouldn't want to see this on a resume, but I want to see a hunting, laser tag, playing, animal training, eyebrow tweezing, tattoo assistant who's applying for retail. That sounds like a really cool person, but it also tells me that they are probably not very stable in these hobbies. They probably don't do any of them particularly well, given that they have so many of them, and this person seems very young. Volunteer experience. These aren't bad. Wrapping gifts at the hospital, wrapping gifts at Centerpoint Mall, wrapping presents at the Bay, touring children on the stools, and I gave them snacks like Coke and cookies. Your tense shift here is problematic, and your typos are problematic, but if you had some dates and a number of people that you helped, this wouldn't be terrible. I hope you think I could work at this job. I think I would do well because I'm a good person with a good soul and will work hard and good. So again, this person does not come off as detail-oriented or particularly educated, and so I would have a lot of hesitance about hiring them. We will stop here, and then I will do just one more, and it will be very short with the cover letters.